Hi everyone, this is Chelsea, and I wanted to give you an additional example of a presentation specifically on the presentation assignment. This is in addition to Rick Fisher's video, which is on the overview page. If you have not yet looked at that, I encourage you strongly to watch that video. It gives a lot of really useful information on the module, and this particular video does not cover everything that Rick's video covers. So be sure to check that out to get a really great overview of the assignment from start to finish. This is just going to be a smaller version, and I am intending for this to give you a different example of a way to actually present your presentation. So this is a 3-week module. In week 1, you're doing preparation work on your presentation. So while you started yesterday in the discussion thread, and will continue today and tomorrow in the discussion thread, one thing I want to mention is please go back to your proposal assignment where you proposed this presentation and check out the feedback I gave you on that assignment. I gave you that feedback knowing that this assignment was coming, and so that feedback was intended to help you make a better presentation when we got to this section. So check that out. In addition to the feedback I gave you, listen to your peers. So they are talking in the discussion groups right now about what kinds of presentations they love and what kinds of presentations they don't. Your classmates are your audience in this case. So you can also go back to the earlier discussion threads when you were proposing a presentation and see what kinds of presentations your classmates are interested in, what sort of information is important to them as students in the 21st century, right? Because that's what this assignment is all about. You also want to do your own research. In the proposal assignment, you proposed research you would do to create this presentation on communication. So do that research. I've also given you readings and some videos to watch. Those are on the overview page. So check that material out. And then finally this week, in week 1, really start to kind of outline or sketch, however it is most useful to you, what it is you want to include in your presentation and how you're starting to imagine it might work. So then we move into next week, and that's really going to be your design week, when you're going to start to really fill in the gaps and build on some scaffolding of your presentation. So next week, you'll be thinking about what kind of tools you want to use. Maybe you want to use PowerPoint like I'm doing. Maybe you want to use Screencast-O-Matic. Maybe you want to use something else. You want to film a video on your smartphone. You want to use your webcam and just sit in front of your computer and speak to the audience as a lecturer. Start thinking about that. What's going to work best? And you can use your research from week 1 to help inform that decision. Then you really want to start thinking next week about what kind of resources you need. Are you going to have actors? Are you going to have someone else read a script and do the voiceover for you? These, of course, are all options available to you. You'll definitely want to nail some of those details down next week, though, to make sure you have enough time to marshal your resources in plenty of time to do any edits before it's time to submit. You might also want to think about whether or not you're going to use music, whether or not you're going to need props. I don't know. However it is that you're going to put this presentation together, start thinking about what you're going to need next week to do it. And most importantly is the content itself. So be sure to read ahead to the assignment page and make sure that what you're planning to include in your presentation meets all of the assignment guidelines. Are you including the important information? Do you have a way to present your sources, etc.? None of that stuff is secret, so you can certainly skip ahead to the final assignment page and see what's going to be expected of you. And lastly, in week 2, start thinking about whether or not you're going to develop any additional materials. A lot of you spoke of a handout that you would have at your presentation or a test you might give. If there's going to be some kind of additional material for your quote-unquote audience, start thinking about that next week as well. You're not required to have any kind of a handout or a test or assessment of any kind, but if you want to include one, you'll want to plan for it. Finally, week 3, which is the week this is due, you're going to produce your presentation and distribute it. In this case, as Rick mentioned, you're going to be posting it in a discussion thread, either as a video or as a link to a video. So, in week 3, make sure, again, to double check the guidelines. I have listed out very clearly what's going to be expected of you, and additionally, check out the rubric. Make sure that you understand how it is you're going to be assessed on this assignment so that you know you've hit all of the A marks in each category. And finally, test your technology twice, submit once. You will not be able to use technical difficulties the day the assignment is due as a reason for missing the due date on this. So you'll have all of week 3 to post your video in the thread and make sure it's working. Please don't wait until the very, very last minute and then have to risk network issues or computer downtime or anything like that, because unfortunately it's the end of the semester. I won't be able to give any extensions on this one. And finally, if you have any questions at all along the way, send me an email. I will do my best to respond as quickly as possible and definitely within 24 hours. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing all of your feedback in the discussion groups and ultimately in the final assignment thread. Thanks so much.